talk about the live broadcast and the recording.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're ready to go. Could read the statement. So that the meeting will be broadcast online. If you're not happy to remain at the meeting, please leave it now. The first item on the programme is to elect a chair for the ensuing year. We've all received the forms to nominate individuals. We've just received one name back. So I'd like to welcome Elwyn to the chair. Thank you very much, and thank you all for putting their faith in me again for this year. So we'll move on to elect a vice chair. And once again, the forms have been sent out. A number have come back, but only with one name. The Councillor Nia Owen. So, congratulations, Nia. Number 3, apologies. Louise Howes, Yvonne Lloyd, Jonathan, and before I start on the programme, I'd like to welcome Kira here, brand new member, been with Cyngor Gwynedd for a number of years, and she's very experienced, and she's a great asset. She will be a great asset to the authority. We'll be seeing less of Jonathan at this meeting as well. Kira will be stepping up to his place, but he will be available if required. And also Brian is attending his last meeting. He's on screen here. Thank you very much, Brian, for your service. You've been here for 8 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And all the best to the future. Any declarations of interest? Nope, nobody. Okay, we move on to the minutes. Then, I propose that they're correct. Would anyone like to second that? Any matters arising? Nothing? Sorry, Mr. Chair. The Planning Department on the 21st of May, I did refuse that application in Bondy, but nothing has been minuted there. Hasn't been recorded there. Is that usual? We don't usually do it, no. Just if somebody asks for that information, that's when we note how people voted. So it has been recorded that I refused that. Would you like it to be recorded? Yes, I'd like it to be recorded, yes. Thank you. Anyone else? Everybody agree that the minutes are correct? Right. We'll move on to supplementary planning guidance. And Geraint, you're taking this. Welcome, Geraint. As members are aware, the work of presenting Article 4 has been ongoing. It's been in place since April 2024, since we presented the notice, and the decree became law on the 1st of June this year. An important element to ensure the wider objective of setting it in place is to prepare a planning guidance. So we have prepared a draft guidance to give further information of how to put the implementation in place with regards to changing the use of holiday homes into short-term holiday homes, second homes, and short-term possibly into full-time dwellings. The aim of this guidance is to provide guidance to help individuals who present planning applications and planning officers and authority members as they take decisions on planning decisions with regards to changing the use of domestic housing into short-term and holiday lets. Following on from the consultation period, the consultation report, which includes the consultation, and it's been made public as well with a summary of the comments received and the response of officers, including any changes that will be made to the guidance. And they're included in Appendix A to this. The supplementary guidance has also been included in Appendix B. A number of changes made by officers following discussions, internal discussions, but more further explanation on the policy and how to implement the directorates of Article 4. Article 4. We've had an assessment which contemplates on the impact on Welsh language. Also considered comments which were received during the consultation period, and the assessment has been adapted in response to that. No negative impacts were identified which would require change to the supplementary guidance. So the recommendation is to adopt the guidance, the supplementary guidance formally, to deputize the officers to undertake any small changes required before making it public, and for members to agree that this guidance should be adapted annually. Including the figures which shows the percentage of second homes and holiday lets in each community. Thank you very much, and I'd welcome any comments. Thank you very much, Geraint. This is a huge piece of work. Would anybody like to make any comments or ask any questions? Edgar? With planning, regards to the percentage of 15%, which has been set. 15% of what? Of what it was when we started and what it is now, or what it is now? What do you think? I'll give you an example. I was looking at the list. 4% in Bala of second homes. So that can go up to 15% in Bala, then, can it? According to this. You know, maybe we'll be building more houses in Bala, where they will be building more houses in Bala. So if we build 100 affordable houses, whatever they are in Bala, in addition to what's already there, does that mean that they can build 15 holiday homes as well? Another thing that I see as well is if you take the park as a whole, it's 18%. So we should stop now then, shouldn't we? That's a question that I haven't had the response to, really. It's important to remember that the guidance recommends with new homes, if they aren't affordable homes, that there should be a requirement set on them so that they can't be used as second homes or holiday lets. So if there were 100 homes in Bala, you know, the percentage would go down because they wouldn't be able to be used as new holiday lets. So the percentage in total will go down. Look, what's interesting is that we've seen the percentages of summer houses. What's happened during the period since we first received the reports to now? That there were the 9 areas where the holiday homes have gone down. They've increased in all the areas. No, as I see, the 15%, I think there's a lot of work for us to do. You know, there are Airbnbs and on holiday homes everywhere. I know it's happening in Gwynedd as well, and it's also happening in areas in England as well, where they're trying to get the balance between local requirements and. Is it possible for us at some point to look at these percentages once again? I think that we're going to look at it in a year's time, are we? I think a review within a year is very sensible, because whatever the percentage will be, what percentage we agree upon today, nobody actually knows what the impact of the guidance will be. The only thing I say that it will be we're in a better situation than before we had Article 4, because before that we didn't have any control at all. I mean, there are areas where the numbers will go up and down. It depends on the fashion and what people need. And we hadn't looked at this problem before, because I think the most important thing is that this will be an improvement. We can't stop or change the natural change in some areas, but for the park as a whole, you know, the hope that the impact of this guidance will mean that the number of the whole park as a whole will come down. And I don't think it's quite sensible that we do review it within a year just to see what the impact will be on the percentage, and if we need to reduce the percentage or maybe or tighten it a little bit, so be it. It is important to have the balance within communities, and that's what the purpose of this, you know, as we try and look at the percentage, we have to be aware of the impact on the visitor economy and how important it is for the park, and finding a balance, I think, is important. So that's why I think an annual review is important, and we should be open to that. One other question is there another national park within Britain who have started on this? We are the first authority, are we? The tendency is that houses are going more expensive in national parks, I think. Well, in England, there's no Article 4, because the classes of use haven't come in England, so they've got no control over their current housing stock. But for example, in Northumberland, for new houses, there's a policy in place. If there's a community where 20% are holiday let, each new house has to be a main residence. And that's Northumberland County Council, not the park. That's the biggest example I could find. Some national parks, like North York Moors and Northumberland, have a main residence policy in some areas. Depends on the size of the towns. They're not exactly the same with the housing stock management. So it's quite innovative what we're doing here. Another thing I'd like to add, really, when an application comes in to change a main residence into either a second home or a holiday let, even if the percentage within that location is under the threshold, it doesn't mean that the application will be successful. There are other planning considerations. You know, if we have, for example, if we have the cluster of 4 houses and one would be lost, but it would be right in the middle of a residential area and would have a negative impact. But we can gather evidence of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that we will approve the planning application. We need to treat each one on its own merit. You know, the percentage is only part of the consideration. I think Yorkshire have started this year. They've started on something to raise the taxes. There are 8,200 people on the waiting list there, and there are 9,000 holiday homes there. So if this is passed today, this will be this will active from today onwards, is it? Maybe the guidance won't be published until next week, just so that we can just tidy it up. But yes, I'll let officers know following this meeting. Naomi? Thank you, Chair. Can I just say that I'd like to support the policy, and I'd like to thank everyone who's contributed towards it. It's been a lot of work has gone into it. And I have to leave in 10 minutes. I'm in London. We'll be starting at 10:30. Does anyone else like to speak? Can I just ask, what's the connection between our policy and Gwyneth's policy? Are they exactly the same? No, they're not. The Gwyneth policy is different for a number. There's some more. It's slightly stronger, I think, because their present policy talks about holiday lets and the lack of housing stock. So ours is based on the strategic policy about the requirement of housing stock for the local community. So it's not exactly the same. What I'm afraid of is that people will say that, oh, we'll do this in Gwynedd, or we'll do it in the park because the rules are different. That's what concerns me, really. The policy context is different, and the subsidiary guidance, what it can't do is to create new policies, because all that we can do in this document is expand on the policies that we already have. And that's why the measure is different with Gwynedd. But, you know, the considerations are the same here and in Gwynedd, just as a few changes. Because there's a clause in the housing lots policy, in Gwynedd's policy, which protects the current housing stock. It will be a challenge for us to work side by side with Gwynedd. But yes, and that's why the work on the local development plan is extremely important, so that we can draw up new policies which are purposeful to the work within the Article 4 and the new classroom. I'm pleased I will be looking at it, reviewing it once again in a year. But the difference between Gwynedd and the park, yes. But there's more difference between Conwy and the park. So you're going to have differences between them. But I'm glad that they will be reviewing it in a year. Thank you. Yes. I was just going to propose that we approve it. But I'd just like to I'd like to say it's kind of that I'd like to thank you for the significant amount of work that's gone to it, and recognise it's not an easy thing to do. You know, it feels that it's coming together, but that's a testament to the amount of work which has gone into it. Two things which struck me, and one of them has been answered today, is that the figure of 15% and the connection between the pack and all the different counties. But I was going to go with it, and it's that it's just one matter. It's just one matter, the 15%. It's very easy to look at a figure and everybody understands what the figure is, but there are other considerations when come into each decision as well. And the other comment I'd like to make, what I've been reassured really, is the comments which have come in the consultation. Even though there are a number of comments which obviously said that they didn't agree, but it wasn't anything to do with the guidance. It was more with the principle behind it. And where the comments have come in, which have been useful comments, I'll say it like that, about the sustainable tourism, a number of comments on that, because that's also part of the wider picture as well. The only specific question I had really, and please forgive me for going on about it, Just for detail, in 8.1, we mentioned about recording the use, making a record of the use. It would be useful to include within it. We all know what the timetable is, So check it, but would it be useful to put a comment in here across which period we'll be looking for evidence? Because somebody could read that and come to a conclusion that they only need 1 or 2 records of use. It's a certificate. It's a certificate because there's no figure. It's slightly concerning, really. It isn't. If there is a property with different conditions on it, possibly look for 3 years of choice, but with a change of use, it would be 4 years of evidence. We'll just keep it quite vague, because if you go into detail like that, you require a lot of information. It's best to keep it, the officers can give people guidance really when they ask exactly what is required. I accept your comments. Keeping the comments open makes it easier to deal flexibly with each case on its own. Would it be possible to strengthen the point in 8.1 and maybe ask them to come for guidance, because people can come to just to make it clearer really, but it won't change really the content and the guidance. Everyone agree with that? Does anybody else? If not, I'd like to propose that we accept the reports. Thank you very much. Can I just count, please? Then if you could raise your hand or put a tick. Anyone against? Right, and that's been carried. So we'll move on to 7.1. Report from the Planning and Land Management. We asked for extra information on this, didn't we? I can't hear you, sorry. Can you please speak up? Right. Good morning, everyone. This is a lecture to report to an application which was discussed last month in May. We asked for further information about this application, about the temporary structures and the access points. And since then, the applicant has completed it to get rid of the temporary structures, the classroom, the portalo. The original intention was to put it up for 30 years to facilitate the educational sessions, but they've decided now to take these down off the application and use their so going to raise a structure for 21 days, which they're allowed to do. So that has to be considered within this course. It was also given extra information about the bridge and the information panel, and the new plan has been included, including and getting rid of the steps. So there was a step up at each side. So the bridge is flat now. Members had also asked the question about the That's about as also that the question about the pathways. And they've confirmed that they've been able to contact the two public footpaths so that they don't impair on access. That's an example of the information panel, which has been included as well. And it's important to note that the content isn't a planning matter, but an example has been given. Also asked about the justification for the improvements to the private land. Coedig Cenedlaethol is part of the Welsh National Forest, which is supported by Welsh Government. And they'll stand, we do have a speaker who'd like to give us some explanation on this. They've also given us justification as part of this report as well. So the recommendation of the officers to continue and improve the application because of the change in the description, and the conditions have been changed as well with regards to the temporary structures. Thank you. We do have a speaker as well. But Thomas, do you want to speak about the application? Welcome. Good morning.
Do you want me to stand up? Or? No. Yeah. My name is Terry Thomas. I'm the manager of Coed Hendreddi. I designed it in 2005, saw it planted in 2006. I'm very proud when it was given the first private woodland in North Wales was given National Forest status by the Welsh Government. This status carries with it certain obligations, and they're on that interpretation panel, which explains why it was given National Forest status. The two key ones which are associated with this planning application are about public access and also connectivity. The woodland has a difficult track to reach a very good sized car park. And this means that people come there, okay, plenty of them are able and can walk, but it's much easier if they could use vehicles to get up there. When they get there, it's a big woodland. It's 320 acres, and there are complex paths, and it's littered with heritage going back to the Neolithic period. So when people go there, it's centered on a quarry. There's a medieval breweries. There are medieval longhouses. There's Neolithic walls and a Neolithic roundhouse. So there's plenty for them to see, but if they can't understand it, it's wasted. The woodland connects with three existing woodlands, Moelfre, Gyfing, and Dolwgan. But National Forest status doesn't require just ecological connectivity. The wildlife can move between the woodlands, very important. But it also has at its vision, Welsh Government wants these woodlands to be connected in a physical sense. And that's what the Bison Bridge and the boardwalk approaching it and the small new path connecting to the existing public rights of way is about. In terms of the other deliverables, the woodland has two postdocs there doing groundbreaking work on measuring biodiversity. The park uses it for peat surveys. We recently hosted walks by the Llyn Ramblers Association. The Council for Protection of Northern Wales have been there, and they are absolutely in support of this development. The list goes on. But So it has the potential to do lots more really good things. It's also subject, we've just been invited last week to submit an application to the Heritage Lottery Fund, which is about providing access to the woodland for future generations. So, in summary, right, okay. There we are. Okay, that's what it's all about.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think we are interested in this application. Anyone else to speak? If not, can everyone show? Yes, connectivity must come very important. And that, of course, wild animals can connect from one part to another. And of course, this will be helping farmers. So, yeah, okay, thanks very much. Everyone in favour, please show. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, it's carried. Thank you very much. 7.2. Land by Tryfan Pen Machnod, Richard Thomas.
Share my screen. Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd, bore da.
Well, thank you, Chair.
It's a full application for the erection of an open market dwelling in the village of Penmachno. I'll just run through. This is a site plan. It's very much in the middle of the village. This is the site here. This is Tryfan, which has a large garden to the side. This is the road running through the village. Afon Machno here, the Machno Inn here, if anybody knows Penmachno, Ysgol Gynradd is here. So very much in the middle of the village. The application site is this area of vegetation here, not this bit here. The village road running through, just running through. You can see it's very much overgrown. There is an existing access in this area here, difficult to spot on the photo, but there is an access there onto the site. It is raised from the neighbouring or the adjoining road and the footpath. Looking into the site, very difficult to actually get into the site and get a sense of what's there. It's very much overgrown. These are the best photos of the lot that I was able to take. So, as I say, it is in the village of Penmachno. The important policy here is DP30, which is the affordable housing, and SPG on housing as well, the policies. Penmachno is defined in the development plan as a secondary settlement, whereby any site for single dwellings, there is no requirement to go through a Section 106 affordable local occupancy. So we can entertain an open market dwelling. The reason it's been brought to committee is that the Community Council have objected on the basis that they would like to see it as an affordable local occupancy secured by Section 106. The policy has, we have engaged with the Community Council and explained that the policy, what the policy is, but they have maintained that objection. Understandable. They want to see it for a local affordable dwelling. But the policies wouldn't allow us to go down that route. So the size, the applicants did do pre-application inquiry. The design was amended to what we would regard as something that we can approve. The materials are good. It's stone faced, and there has been a green infrastructure, a biodiversity enhancement plan scrutinised by our ecologist, and the plan has been agreed. Recommendation is to approve on the basis, usual sort of conditions, start work within 5 years, accordance with approved plans, and accordance with the landscaping and ecological surveys. Recommendations to approve.
Any comments or proposal?
Richard on Hanner. Brian, siarad.
Okay.
Is that Brian?
Yes, hello. The question I have, or the observation I have, is that there is a very large proportion of the site which is laid out as hard surface. I know there is the issue of sustainable drainage, but it's just of some concern that if you take the patio and the driveway and the parking area, you're talking at more than 50% of the site. I just wonder whether that fits in with our principles, and whilst there are environmental enhancements suggested in relation to bats and other aspects, I just am a little bit concerned about that, and whether there is anything in conditioning that we could do to ensure that rather than sustainable drainage, some of it is porous or whatever. I'd be interested in your observations on that.
There will be an advisory that a sustainable drainage will be required, and anything over 100 square meters there is a requirement for sustainable drainage, which will show permeable surfaces. So I think we're okay with. I understand it would be nice to have less hard surfaces, but it is in accordance with the plan, and there will be permeable surfaces there.
Yeah, Richard.
Right, thanks, Richard. Is there anyone else who wishes to raise a question or make a comment? If not, do I have a proposal? Anyone proposing anything? Ian, yeah, Nia has her hand up. Yeah, happy to propose that we go with the recommendation of the planning officers, so I move that. Any seconder? Can you show those four? Anyone against? That's carried, thank you. Right, sorry. I think there's a problem with screen reflection that needs to be addressed.
Iawn, o'n i mlaen i 7.3.
Right, let's on to 7.3.
Jones. Ma' hwn yn gais.
This is an application made under Part 73 of the Planning Act to remove a condition from a current planning permission. So it's to do with a current cafe. So the application has been submitted to the committee and is under the ownership of the authority. Now, the rest of the building is used as a tourism centre. This picture shows the rear of the building, and there is an external eating area that's been approved recently by the committee in the back, and you see chairs there. The building has been outlined in red, and you can see in its location it's quite central, commercial, and there are similar buildings of usage in the area as well. Now, the principle of condition of use has been established already, so the assessment in this Part 73 is restricted to the removal of the condition only. Now, the purpose of the condition was to protect nearby residents from sound, noise, disturbance, and because of the location of the building in a commercial area with similar uses already, we don't believe that removing the condition will have a detrimental effect on the facilities for nearby residents. So the recommendation is to remove the condition, but with two conditions. And the second condition will restrict the usage up to 11 at night. So, any comments or proposals regarding the approval of these plans? Anyone else wish to speak? If not, we'll go straight to a vote. Those in favour, please show. It's carried. Those against? That's now been approved. So let's move on to 7.4. To Richard. Thanks, Chair.
Refers to a Llyn Tegid park and buildings, Bala. Description is to insulate and fix new cladding. It's external insulation and new cladding, and affix solar panels to the Warden Centre, and to install AMPR and CCTV cameras, and to install a new entrance gate. Now, the site, the particularly clear location plan, Llyn Tegid is this area here. The road between Bala and Llyn runs along here. The Warden's building and the water sports enterprises, this building. There is a small building here, and the entrance is here. I'll just run through some photos. This is the Warden Centre. It's a two-storey building, effectively. The Wardens and the public toilets are on the upper floor. Underneath is the water sports centre. which hire out all sorts of gear and boats for messing about on the water. Proposal is for this building to externally clad, insulate the building, and then apply timber cladding over the insulation. Next slide. There is a small building near the entranceway. The proposal is, and I have to say we've had some revised plans yesterday. The plans that are in the Pekin show a single ANPR camera on the rear elevation, rear gable here. The revised plans now show ANPR cameras on the front and rear elevation. So that's what we're going to be considering today. They didn't make it to the Pekin, so I haven't been able to circulate those to you. There's also a proposal to put a gate across the entranceway onto the through road. So looking from the other side of the road, so there'll be gated access, ANPR cameras on this building, and cladding of the Warden's building. Because the site falls within an SAC and SSI, it has been necessary to do an HRA appropriate assessment. That's been carried out by the authorities, ecologists, and has been agreed to by the NRW. No pathways to the Llyn Tegid, so there'll be no adverse effect on the SAC features. So that's okay. The recommendation is to approve. There will be a change to the visual appearance of the building, but I think it's one that can be supported. It's a timber cladding, and the ANPR cameras are fairly insignificant, really. There was proposal to have them on poles, but been able to negotiate that down to being put onto the small building. And the gated access, again, doesn't have any adverse effect on visual qualities. It is something that you probably expect to see on a car park. So the recommendation is to approve and in accordance with the a green infrastructure plan, which does show bird and bat boxes on the building. And recommendation is to grant.
Diolch, Richard. No, now we've got testing going
Thanks, Richard. Is it possible for birds to nest there?
Apparently so. There are the sparrow boxes or terraces, as they call them. So yes, that is part of the green infrastructure plan and biodiversity enhancements, which aren't there at the moment. So
yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, one comment. There is talk in the application about solar.
Yes. That's where the solar panels doesn't require planning approval. So it's not part of the mission, but yes, there is solar panels.
Yeah, I just needed solar on their website.
Yes, sorry,
I just to see where it is.
It is to improve the environmental credentials of the building and the installation as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Brian.
Thank you, Chair. A question, really. I'm in favour of the recommendation to approve entirely, but I have one question regarding materials. The timber cladding, what is the nature of the timber cladding? Are we talking about something like larch, which is natural and has a similar lifespan to many other cladding materials? Or are we talking about tunnelized? And if so, are we considering the source of that and the way that the tunnelized chemicals are being handled?
I don't have information as to the source of the timber. All I do have is that it will be stained a light grey colour, which probably means it may not be tunnelized, but I'm not certain about that. I don't have that information, I'm afraid.
I wouldn't want to hold up the application, but bearing in mind it's an internal matter through the chair, I think we should be considering the use or the nature of the materials that we have and the environmental credentials associated with them, and where possible, using local or at the very best UK materials to do that. So I wonder if that could be just looked at and that filtered into the consideration of what materials are used, please.
Of course, I mean, it is possible we could put that down as an advisory for further details to be submitted to the authority. On the decision notice, we put an advisory note on it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody propose? Seconded? With the advisory note. So can you please show if you're in favour? Carried, thank you. Okay, let's move on to 7.5, the Llangower Park parking space.
The presentation. Very similar application to the previous. It's a National Park car park on the far side of Llyn Tegid, the east side. Probably a little bit more going on with this application, even though it's a smaller car park. It's again cladding the existing building, no external insulation in this case, but it is just to clad the toilet facility there, to renew the existing car parking spaces and create new spaces. And I'll explain that a little bit further on. It's also to install ANPR and CCTV cameras, and again a new entrance gate. Now the car park at Llangower is a long strip of land in between. Again, the site plan isn't very clear. This is the through road between Llangower and Llanuwchlyn. On the other side, there's the railway line, the tourist railway line, and then here is Llyn Tegid beyond that. So it's a strip of land which has got a small facility here. The toileting facility is rendered and painted with some stone feature. The proposal is for that building is to clad it in timber, which will, I'm told, improve maintenance costs and longevity. So again, it's a timber cladding and a grey, light grey finish to it. The proposal is also to resurface the car park. And at the moment, the car park is unregulated. When I say unregulated, there aren't parking bays as such. So the proposal would be to install grass street, so porous surface with spaces marked out clearly, and to create new spaces as well, which will increase the capacity from around about 65 to around about 92 spaces. So obviously, with it being increased spaces, there'll be revenue for the authority as well, hopefully. In this area here, there's proposed to put a gate across, and if we can just see in here, there's the pay machines. There will be ANPR and CCTV cameras on poles in this case, as there isn't a building to actually attach it to. But as you can see, there is vertical elements here already. So I'm not so concerned about the vertical elements being introduced here. You can see in the far the station, the railway station, and Llyn Tegid in the background. Again, in this case, there were pathways identified for potential pollution to Llyn Tegid, We carried out an HRA appropriate assessment, which found that if the developers or the authority employ pollution prevention measures during construction, then those pathways can be secured and no pollution will onto Llyn Tegid. So NRW were happy with that we provide advice in the form of PPG 5 and PPG 6, which is pollution prevention guidance that NRW produce. So we will put that as an advisory. So recommendation is to approve, again on the basis of 5 years and in accordance with approved plans.
Iawn,
Which does show
diolch.
biodiversity enhancements.
Is it bosib roi blychau nysu yn fan hyn hefyd bydd?
But I didn't catch that.
Sorry, didn't get a translation.
Is it bosib roi blychau nysu ar yr adeilad hefyd? Ac ar y coed o gwmpas?
Sorry, can you repeat that? This is awful. I can't hear anything.
The interpreter's not hearing the comments from the chair.
Reit,
Can you just repeat it again?
Could you repeat, please?
Ydy bosib roi blychau nysu adar?
Oh, right. Is it possible nesting boxes on these buildings and the trees around?
Yes, there is a biodiversity enhancement plan to show bat and bird enhancement.
Iawn, diolch yn iawn. Yw
Thank
sylw
you.
gyda fi? John?
Ac elogiau'r cais wrth gwrs ar yr unig beth.
Yeah, supporting the application.
Ac hefyd wrth yn tegid dros fflos oes. A wedi rwystro hynny, ond y broblem
Yes.
ydi.
The problem.
So sut ydyn ni'n mynd i allu sortio hynny allan, so dwi'n meddwl bod yn gloi.
How can things be sorted out?
Ond dan o ddim de. Doedd oedd y broblem, symud y broblem o'r parciau a dwi'n...
Right, so there's the problem with the parks. I'm not catching any of this.
Sorry, the interpreter is still struggling to catch it, but I have a question, which is, an observation that could the same considerations be given to the timber as I made in the other application? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I'm not sure why the interpreter is having difficulty hearing, but there is an issue, obviously.
I think it's the mic not picking up properly. No. It was simply that the... Yeah. Anyway.
Doedd ar y stafell yma ddim yn ei dda, rioed yna goedd wedi gwella bod. Ac wedi gwella, yn cael pobl efo...
O, maen nhw gwanas mewn rhyw dafled o lefa.
Sorry, they're chatting amongst each other now. I can't.
Maen nhw'n llawn. Hwyl o banks. It's not overnight camping. Maen nhw'n There's no signage here.
Mae'n golfi fath, mae'n isa'n dod ddim yn ymwneud o'r ffordd.
Ti'n dweud cyngor sir mae'n John?
Cael ei fod yn dal i cael ei recordio.
Ie.
Right. Remember that this meeting's been recorded. There is, if you want a discussion, you need to do it after this meeting.
Fedrwn dod o hyd i fo, mae'r galod yn mynd allan i ddod yma.
Right, we'll move on. Okay. Right. Can you pick everything okay now with the translation? Yes? Okay, great.
Wedi ti'n mynd i clywed?
So can everybody hear? Can you hear, Brian? I think they're still waiting. Yes. Okay. Have we had a vote on that? We have. John would like to support it, but I is concerned about the camper vans. Yes. Yes. And we'll include Brian's comment as well. Yes. Everyone in favour? Okay. Feel like show of hands if you're in favour. Okay, that has been carried. I think it's the much large around at the moment. That has. So we'll move on to item 8, Development of Management Performance Reports. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This report is about the performance over the quarter 3 and 4 for the year 2024-25. Just to give you the situation, the latest situation on the resources, human resource, HR, since December, which mentioned in December that with 2 members were on sickness leave, and that continued up to around March this year. So due to the long-term sickness, absences, and our inability to fill the planning officer's post, we've been on 50% less than normal staffing capacity during a lot of this period. The planning officer post became vacant in March, and even though we advertised for the vacant post, we've been able to fill it. In the short term, we've been looking for assistance from an external company to help us with planning applications. And so other members of the team have been helping with other aspects of the work. So there's huge pressure on the officers and the whole team during this period. Even though we haven't been able to recruit for the vacant post, we decided to appoint for graduate trainees to try and fill in the blanks, and I'm pleased to say that we have managed to fill these posts, and they will be starting in July, by the end of July, next month now. I'd also like to say one of our technicians has been off on sickness leave as well, and that had an impact on the other 2 technicians as well, which has affected the whole team. Also, planning director has also been a vacant post. Thank you, John, for helping us, even though he's been very busy with his new post. That has some impact on our work as well, unfortunately. But in general now, those who have been off sick have returned to work, so hopefully over time we'll be to full capacity before long. Regards to the targets for the Welsh Government's performance indicators, I've included in the table in the report figures for 23-24 and quarter 1 and quarter 2 of 24 and 25, just so that we compare them. With regards for quarter 3 and 4, considering that we've been short of staff, the figures are slightly better with regards to those who are determined on time within the 8 weeks. With regards to those determined within 8 weeks, they compare favourably. It's a slightly better than the quarter 1 and 2 figures. And even though These figures show how we perform against the Welsh Government performance indicators. I'd like to raise once again that it is important that these figures don't reflect the workload of officers and the challenges that we faced during this time within the team and the impact that it's had on the performance. And it's not clear yet what impact it will have as we move on to Q1 and 2 of next year. The appeals, but 2 new appeals, decisions on 2 appeals on Q3 and 4, which brings us to a total of 10 appeals. Planning appeals will be determined in 24-25 period. And I'm pleased to say that each one of those 10 appeals, as well as the 2 applications for an award of cost. So those are the figures for 24-25. There are 2 areas for improvements which have been noted and considered with a decision to carry on with we will need to review the team structure to ensure that we can help the graduate trainees and prepare them for the new way of working and consider the mentoring support which will be required. We're also holding discussions with the planning technicians and the administrative assistants just to review how they work, and changes have been made or put in place, and which will take time to adapt to, just to see if they have a significant impact. One thing I'd like to say now that we have adopted the list, a local validation list for listed building consent. This for all applications presented from the 1st of June onwards. And what we hope to do is increase the quality of the submissions. So it will then reduce the officer's time trying to chase up extra information in order to assess and determine each application. So in general, I'd like to praise the whole department for the work that they've done during a very challenging period, to be honest. And I hope that when we're back to full capacity, when we have everything in place, we will see an increase in our performance and it become more consistent over the next period. Thank you very much, Shona. Edgar. I'm pleased to see that the team is up to full capacity now. And I'd like to thank you for your work during this challenging period when we didn't have enough staff in place, and for there's been huge pressure put upon them. We're going to move some of that pressure now onto Kira's shoulders. And I know I've read the figures, and I'm confident that they will improve since the team is back to full capacity. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Delith? Just a question, really. We've been on this journey for a while now, and there's quite a way to go again to hit the 80%. And I'd like to add to what Edgar said, that the way we recognise the pressure which has been put on the team, which is significant. And the work you've still continue to do the work despite that. I just want more of an idea. Is the recruitment problem something which is happening through Wales, through Britain? Do we have a role in influencing, taking the influence of what's the work that's being done, work in a more strategic manner maybe, in order to improve this recruitment issue? There is a recruitment problem throughout the country. And that's why we've taken the trainee graduate route, because it's a good way of getting new people into the sector. The government has started a project, I can't remember its name, but they help authorities to recruit trainee graduates, and they help to pay the costs towards the master's course if they're following course. That's quite a new course, within Wales. I think that they have been doing this in England, but I don't think at the moment that, unfortunately, we don't have the budget to do it on top of. It's seen as an investment, really, isn't it? You know, that the training graduates, lots of but we do use resources to support these people as well. I know what I recognise what the challenge is, but I don't know what the answer is. But maybe there's room for us to promote the issue more and about recruiting and maybe support any plans which are out there. Work has been done on a national level, and on Gwynedd side, I contribute to the TPI work, which were asking these questions. You know, I think it's very challenging. I think it's more challenging for us in North Wales because we hope and expect to get Welsh speakers in place as well. And I think that where the investment in trainee graduates is extremely important, and that we can support them in the correct manner. It does take investment, but it is worth doing. You know, I worked with trainee graduate. I was a trainee graduate myself, and I'm still here, still in the area. But it is worth the investment. Very much, Rhys, and then Jonathan. Thank you, Chair. I was going to raise exactly the same question that Ella's raising. You know, what are we doing in a strategic manner? How are we working strategically to attract maybe more into the sector? It's a professional area, but obviously there's a call for people in this area, and it's a good career path. And the question maybe that at the end, on the tail of that really, was with regard to our pay structures and staff benefits. Do we benchmark well against other authorities, and where are we around those? But I get the impression that it's a national problem, not just a local problem. Just so maybe we should just look at how we can work within that. The comment I wanted to make, and some people touch on it, how much of our resources required to support these trainees as well. It's not a short-term project; it's a mid-term to long-term project. But I'm pleased to say that there has been that you have suggested that there will be a restructuring of the team or rethinking how it works. And the question that I have about the targets, I see that the performance is improving. So for me, shows that there's something. It's healthy and what's happened, and it's happened during a very challenging period. And I'm pleased that things are getting closer to where we want to be. Question between how many people approach us for support before presenting an application. Is there clear contact? You know, how can we promote that more or in a better manner? With regards to people who do put in an application, that you do encourage the discussion before presenting an application, so that they can improve the performance in general. We do try and encourage people to put in a pre-planning application, but unfortunately, you know, some people don't do. Some people just ignore what we send them. But where we can, we try and help as much as we can, so that when an application comes in, that it can go through the process smoothly. But things do come up during a planning application process, no matter how much we help them beforehand. So the information on the website, we try and encourage everyone to put in a pre-planning application in, so that they can. But I don't have the figures here to compare how many do and how many don't. Maybe there's a strong message that we can put out through the website and let everyone else, really, just to encourage people to get it into the idea that putting an application, a pre-planning application, and having that discussion will make the process a much faster process and without the added hurdles. Jonathan, just very quickly on Della's point, the difference that we get by appointing trainee graduates is significant. You know, it's shown There's a supply of talented young people. We get so many people applying for these posts. It's happened 2 or 3 times now, and each time we've had a fantastic response. So it does show that we need to maybe rethink how we recruit in the future. That is the model. I think the old model, when we put out for a listed buildings officer, we were at it for 2 years trying to fill that post. And it put so much pressure on the department, and we spent a lot, and we had some private in to fill in the gap. And we went out for training graduates, and we received a number of young, well-speaking people, very talented people who wanted to stay and work in the area. And we appointed and we've got a very good officer in place now. So I think that's the model for the future. And just to get back to your point, Trace, about the benefits, and I think the salaries are the same as Wrexham and Flint or Gwynedd. There's some variance, but I don't think that's what causes any problems, and I think everyone has the same problem. Thank you very much. John Pugh? Just when you mentioned about the pre-planning application, and not just in the pack, Gwynedd is the same. When they put in a pre-planning application, they just get a negative list back. There's nothing positive to help the applicant to get things through. I think that including a list of negative things rather than positive things, it isn't worth putting it in. Maybe we could put positive things in as well to help them get it through. I think that's quite important to include, just as well as the negative things are. Yeah, that's a fair point, but I do think that any response from the council has to be honest. So if there's a black and white policy, which is either yes or no, but we have to be completely open about that. If it comes down to a matter of design and where there is room for improvement, so that we can support people and try and encourage them to improve the plan. But it's part of the work that I have in front of me, and I need to look at what's going on here, and if I can offer improvements, I will do so. They do pay for this, and I think they say that they want something positive so they can help them with the way forward. That's what they've paid for as well. Anyone else? I just want to ask a question about the salaries. How the trainee salaries compare with the salaries, and you've answered that it does. And that's great to hear, because we're not going to recruit them as. It's an old problem. I think that everybody's trying. I think we were trying to recruit 20 years ago. It's the same in Gwynedd as well, isn't it? I'd like to propose that we accept the report. Would like to second that? Can we have a show of hands for the report, please? Thank you very much. Item 9, updates on compliance. Jane, is it?
Thank you,
Welcome, Jane.
I do not have much really to add to the report. Performance indicators continue to fluctuate, but we're hoping this will improve when we get fully resourced later in the year, when Alice returns at the end of August. Members will note there have been no enforcement notices served in the first 6 months, although one has just been served recently at the beginning of this month. There are several in the pipeline, and I'm expecting that this number will increase in December when I will do the report to committee then. In respect to the notable cases, it's disappointing that I've got to report to members that I've had no update from the agent in respect to Nanai. Certainly that'll be one that I'll be chasing. I was hoping to be able to provide an update directly from the agent in respect to Nanai, but unfortunately I've not received anything. In respect to Glegoff D, also we've not recently had any communication from the agent in respect to ongoing negotiations in that instance, and therefore the authorities contacted PEDU to advise that we're happy for the appeals to proceed in that instance. As so to members, if you're wanting any updates from any other cases in your areas, then please contact either Gavin, Roberts, myself directly, and would be happy to discuss those with you. I just request that the members know the contents of the report. Thank you.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Ryw sylw rywun?
Any comments?
John?
Would anyone like to propose? Are you going to,
Pawb o blaid?
everyone in favour of accepting the recommendation? Can we have a show of hands, please? Thank you very much, Jane. We move on to item 10.
Ia'r gwybodaeth.
106 for information.
Ryw sylw, gyda rywun yn fan'na?
Any comments
Ryw gwestiwn?
here or any questions?
Oes, o'n i mlaen i
If not,
ceisiadau na penderfyniad arnynt, ers tair wythnos.
outstanding applications where more than 13 weeks have elapsed.
Gwybodaeth ecolegol.
Awaiting ecological information, the thing there,
Os yn dalen,
over the page,
ar y cynlluniau diwygiedig.
awaiting details.
Cwestiwn yna?
Any questions there?
Cynghorydd allanol.
Awaiting external.
Pont yr awr gan Llanfestiniog.
Llanfestiniog, we're waiting
Gan,
for a report from who?
Dwi'n siŵr.
Not sure.
Pont Canfaldaeth. O, ynddo, sori, bod ni'n... Sorry.
Cynllun hydro.
Yeah.
It's the hydro plan, is it? I think we've gone out externally to try and get some help, external help on this. I understand that we've had a meet. We're meeting next week to discuss it. So our intention is hopefully to bring it to the committee in September. It's been ongoing for about 9 years, I think.
Ie, ddim y cais. Cofiwch chi, dwi'n cofio'r cais o'n hyn
I
gymryd tair
remember this application, one application taking 13 years to be settled. You remember it, don't you? In Penllyn, to every store to try and get it through. Delegated decisions. For your information. Can I go back? I think it's 179. There's one application in Talsarna waiting for the highways response. What's the update to that? We've just, since publishing the agenda, we have received a decision. And the one above it in Tingo Harlech. That's going on now. Thank you. Anyone else? Delegated decisions. Uwch y maes Dolgella. It's being cleared now, isn't it? There's no affordable clause on that, no? Because there was... Approved decisions. Page 181 for your information and over the page as well. Anyone have any questions? 183. And then applications refused. Again, for your information. 84, 85. So we're moving on to the appeal decisions. Beth Gellert. That has been approved, hasn't it? We refused it in the first instance. And it was, didn't return to, they decided they went straight to appeal. That's been approved. And the second one, are there any costs involved in that? They've asked for costs. Costs have been awarded, but at the moment they haven't actually put in the application. But we acted it will be a significant sum. We don't know how much, no, not yet. It won't be a significant sum because it's quite a small application. Is there a timeline by when they need to put in the application? I can't remember now. I think the appeal has taken months, hasn't it? I'm not aware of the timeline, but I can check. Right, so for information, Saltry ddim mor dyffryn a dydw e. Remember these, don't we, these buildings. Affordable houses were put in, one of them, and they appealed to remove that condition. I think the fact was because they were listed buildings and you wanted to renovate them. So in paragraph 17 said they were going to safeguard social well-being policy. It refers to respecting and enhancing a historic environment. And also the fact that they were listed buildings. He has changed the condition. I think that is said there. So to say, any idea how many of these are left in the pack? This was quite a unique case because of 4 units within a listed building, and the application was to convert them into permanent residences. I don't think we received many similar applications. But also, what comes out of it that the inspector had supported the idea of the condition, but because of the financial circumstances and because there was a listed building, and that's why we've lost it. So I think there's something to learn from this, and it gives us more confidence really with similar applications in the future. I think we need to be a little bit different about how we measure each application, but it's a useful decision. There is a sign above the road that it's being sold by auction. What's it for sale? There's a sign up. I haven't stopped by it to see what the sign says in detail, but there is a sign which has been up for quite a while now. It will take a significant amount of work. Yeah. They did apply for costs as well, but we refused that. Yes. It just shows as well that the use of the condition was reasonable. So the committee did go against the recommendation of the officers. So, right, there we go. Any questions from anyone else? If not, there's a working group which follows immediately. If we can have a break for 10 minutes and reconvene, and it'll be on a different link. So 20 to 12 on a different link. Okay, thank you.